Welcome to Scattered News in Conversation with. So what we do here is we are looking to essentially dissect every and any business that we come across, getting the crux of it, getting the entrepreneur story, getting the story behind the business and the industry that we are catering to, or that the business is catering to. But more importantly, we are getting the story of South Africans at large who are into the entrepreneur space, what their inspiration is and what they essentially do. And today we have Mr. Sive Cheve.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
This is the founder of Lion Varage, and he's going to tell us a bit more about his business and what you guys do.
Yes.
Right, thank you so much for welcoming me to your home.
No problem.
I'm hoping that today we're going to have a conversation about you, a bit about your business and the core of your business, the industry, what that looks like, and the growth rates in the industry, because I've done a bit of research around it. It's quite incredible in terms of looking at the growth rate around the energy drink market in Africa as a whole. You know, obviously you have your big companies, you have your PepsiCos, you have your Red Bull, Monster, but none of them are actually doing what you're doing. And I'm quite interested in hearing a bit about that. But before that, tell me more about where you're from. How did you grow up? Where did you grow up? And how old you are, actually. I think let's jump into that.
Okay. So I'm from the Eastern Cape. So right now we're based in Johannesburg just for this business. So it's the main reason we in Johannesburg. So I'm from the Eastern Cape where this whole thing started, right? So I just want to get into how we started the business back in high school, actually. So you mentioned that other energy drinks are not doing exactly what we're doing. So I remember back in high school, it was my first time having a Red Bull, right? So I remember my sister-in-law was pregnant that time. So I had a Red Bull with me. So I could see she was tired and, she needed something to drink. So I remember reading at the back, it said, not suitable for children under the age of 12, pregnant woman, people sensitive to stimulants. So I was like, is there a product that is suitable?
Exactly, yeah.
So we did research, we tried to find out if there's anything that's suitable for the mentioned demographics, and we saw a gap. So that's how we came about with the idea, and we tried formulating it and researching it deeper, and then that's how the brainchild was born.
So that's a typical entrepreneurial story. You see a gap in the market, then you jump into it. But I'm quite interested in. Then you see the problem, right? You then take it upon yourself to say, okay, cool, I'm gonna start this thing. When you started, what are you thinking about at that moment? Because it's one thing to start something, right? I mean, to have an idea. We all do, right? We all have an idea about, I could buy new curtains or make curtains that can sense that I want them to be opened.
Okay.
But you then are in high school. Where do you go after that? Or who do you go to?
Well, I'm a believer of stoicism, right? So I don't need to figure it out the minute I think about it, right? So we improvised and, we did what we could. So I remember back in high school, we didn't know anything about formulating an energy drink, right? We're still in high school. So we actually, we would go to doctors, with this idea, wanting to create this energy drink that functions without caffeine. So I remember going to a few of my science teachers where I actually got the first few ingredients of it. So I went to a few of my science teachers and, I asked them what ingredients can we use that are natural, that don't have side effects.
Sure.
So we actually formulated it. That was part of the formulation, right? And then we went to doctors with part of those ingredients. We asked more information. We did research, physically to the doctors, and that's how we came out with the full blown idea and full ideology of the product.
You speak a lot about we. Who's we at that
so
moment?
It's me and my brother.
Sure.
Yeah, yes.
So the brother,
yes.
For those obviously you can't see, but he's
yes,
here actually
behind the camera.
He's behind the camera.
Yes.
So you tag team with your brother, and you're like, okay, cool, we're doing this. You guys are what, 18, 17, something like that?
Yes.
You're going to what are these doctors saying? These kids, what are they trying to do? Or were they buying into the idea? Was there more elation and fascination? Because here are these kids, they want to come up with this thing. Or did you get some resistance?
I just want to put this out there because I think it's a problem we have. Your society today, or even a few years back, it's not easy to believe someone who says I've got this idea, because
Sure.
It's easy to have an idea and not know how to implement it or not implement it at all. So we went through the phases of getting undermined, people not trusting that you're serious about what you're doing.
Sure.
So in the beginning, it wasn't so easy. It wasn't so supported that much in terms of the interactions we made with the people we spoke to about. So it wasn't as motivating in the beginning.
Yeah.
But I mean, we did what we had to do.
I mean, I suppose that's the typical route of any entrepreneur. You start it's not fun.
Yeah.
It's never fun. I don't
lonely
think.
there.
Yeah, I don't think
it's
people
lonely
actually
there.
have a comprehension of how not fun it is.
Yeah.
It's fun where we get. The other day I was actually laughing because I was celebrating the fact that I think we had just finished an ad, and I was like, this is so great. And then I was like, I've come to that point in my life where I'm celebrating an ad.
Yeah.
The little things, and that then plays into the self, and I see you just said that you believe a lot in stoicism, and some of the principles obviously of stoicism is not being self-indulgent and not getting too much into your emotions or feeding into the emotions. But I suppose the question would then lie, you're 18, you're 19, you're starting out the business, you're in Eastern Cape, and what's running at the back of your mind in terms of how far can the business go? How far can you take it? Are you in the space where you're like, I can see it, or are you, these moments of doubt, you're like, listen, I don't know if we could do this, but let's just keep on going. Where's your mind at that time?
Okay, so I think to some degree I suffer from OCD, right? So I'm not able to start something and not finish it.
Sure.
Right. So when we started the business, we already saw where we could get with it, and you have to have some degree of being a capitalist when you.
Of course. I mean, it's not a business if it doesn't make money.
Yeah. You have to be a capitalist to some degree. So this industry, yes, it is very lucrative.
Sure.
And, we could see that with the gap that we've identified, there's a lot of potential, and we're willing to take the risk.
Yeah.
And the risk was worth it. So, yes, we could see the picture. We could see how far we can go. And, we didn't have any doubts.
Absolutely. And so I want to get into what you've just mentioned now. Look, the business being lucrative. And I want to get into the conversation of cash flow, right?
Okay.
You're starting out. First of all, you're bringing a product that's new into the market.
Yes.
Right? You then need to look at, how do I price this thing?
Sure.
How are you and your team sitting down and saying, okay, this is the pricing? How did you guys come up with that? Or how did you compile the strategy of pricing?
So I think you don't just decide on the pricing based on how you feel or based on how you think you should be making, or how much you think you should be making, but you first formulate the product, right?
Yeah.
And then when you formulated the product or you've designed the product, you then understand the sustainability behind it, right?
Okay.
So there are phases to manufacturing, right? Where you've got a certain quantity that gives back certain margin, or that has a certain margin, right?
Yeah.
The bigger you get or the more you manufacture,
Yeah.
the more you have a bigger margin.
Yeah.
So yes, we designed the product and then we priced it according to what we think would be best, suitable for a product like this.
Yeah.
And what was sustainable for the business as well.
So you're looking at, so you went into the crux of, okay, this is how much this is the cost of the company. This is how much I think if I were to push X amount of products or units, this is how much I would be able to get. Or you're sitting down and you're saying, listen, it cost me X amount to get the honey. It cost me this much to get. So is that the
Yes,
crux?
yes,
So
yes.
you did almost like backward looking forward.
Yes.
So you went from the back and then you went forward with
So
it.
so what you do is maybe you understand how much you need for. First of all, I just want to get deeper into this type of business, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
Let me just get deeper. So, before you get to a certain stage, you know nothing about that stage.
Exactly.
Right? So you have to, you have to risk it, right? So we designed the product, we knew what we wanted from the product.
Sure.
Right? So we get the suppliers in, we get an understanding of what's the best route to take. And then after that, you understand where the pricing is. You understand that, okay, it cost me this much to do this. Yeah, the can, where do I get the can? You compare.
You
compare.
Just like any other business.
Yes, you compare. And then after you've compared, then you determine the pricing. And, at the same time, something that's very important that I should point out, competition.
Of course. I mean, you're such you're like a tadpole.
Yeah.
This market is big.
Yeah.
It's very big, and you have guys that have been doing this for decades.
Yeah. You see?
Jump into that.
So you have competition, right? So you don't want to be too expensive, but you don't want to be too cheap for your product sustainability.
Of course.
So the price has to compete as well, because we're a new brand, right? You don't want to be pricing over, but at the same time, it needs to be sustainable as well. So there's also two sides into this thing of pricing, right? Some companies, some big companies that manufacture a lot, they depend on volumes.
Yeah.
Some more premium companies, in as a matter of fact, in every sector, they depend on the margin.
Yeah.
So how much they marginalize on the price as well. So there are two sides. You also need to determine which one you fit there first. So as a new company, you won't be pushing as much volumes as companies that have always been there. So you will rely on the margin as well. So there's those strategies that you need to take note of, and understand which one you fall. But if we'd be specific on our brand, we're still in the beginning, so we're not depending on volumes now. Maybe our pricing strategy will change in the future.
Of course,
will change in the future, depending on the volumes as well.
A business like this, you spoke about, or we just mentioned that there's a lot of big guys,
Yes,
and we've mentioned them earlier on. These are guys that are literally sponsoring F1 shows, and you're watching them, and where they, they're doing big festivals and all these things. They have capital.
They have what?
They have capital.
Capital,
right?
Yes.
How does someone start? Or how did you guys start? Did you guys have a pool of capital? Did you guys have, what's this? A said relative was like, listen, I'll give you 100,000 to start this thing. How did you pull your funds together to get the first batch of products out?
Okay. So I just want to throw a question. It's irrelevant to this, but I'm sure you've heard this before. Do you need to be very handsome to date, or do you think you can just date?
I think it's a matter of strategy more than anything else.
Of course. So I think this mindset that you need funding to start a business, I think it's backwards. I think you need funding to grow it, right?
Yes.
So we had to come up with a strategy based on what we had, right? We had to strategize based on what we had. We didn't have funding, but we know we have a customer.
Sure.
We know we have a customer. We know there's a need for a product like this, and like I mentioned earlier, there's a gap. So what we do, we take it one step at a time.
Yeah.
So we gather up as a team and we take it one step at a time. It might take us longer than it would have if we had $1 million or two.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. It always does.
Yeah,
money always gives that bit of that push.
We have to do it. So it doesn't matter if it takes us ages to do it, but if you can take it one step at a time, one obstacle at a time.
Sure.
If maybe, let's say, there's one lab that needs 50,000 for a specific thing, a specific testing, then we deal with that obstacle.
So it's on, So it's on a situational basis.
Yes.
Or you don't. Well, and I suppose to a great extent, as entrepreneurs, we don't have the luxury of foreseeing that. Listen, I can have a pro forma statement to say, okay, next 2 months or next 3 years, I'm gonna have these costs. You don't know.
Yeah,
that,
you
right?
don't know.
The cost literally comes, slap you in the face, and they're like, okay, so we need 75,000 for this, and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Right? You're like,
it's like that.
So
you need to be brave.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So are you in that still? But I suppose for someone watching, what is that? Are you working? Are you sourcing funding, or are you doing what's this? A bit of the drop shipping business model where you get the order, right, and then you go to the supplier.
Okay. So I see.
How's the sourcing?
So this is the main thing we've focused on, right?
Sure.
I think my story where I tell you about high school and all that. So we decided as a team and as a family that whatever that we had, we didn't have a side income, right?
Sure.
So we decided as a family that, okay, we are going to invest in this as a family.
Sure.
And make sure that we get through stages that need capital.
Sure.
And another thing that's so difficult about, not that we showing off, but another thing that's so difficult about starting a business like this is that you say you have an idea, right?
Yeah.
You approach people, you're like, I have this idea that you want to make this energy drink that works without caffeine. You don't have the energy drink yet.
Yeah.
Right? You don't have it in front of you.
You just have white paper.
You have an idea. So it's not easy to say you're going to find someone to fund an idea of something that's not even there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, for it to be there, you need funding.
Yeah. So it's like what came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah. So you have to now depend on the people you trust.
Sure.
To help you out and maybe shake hands and say, listen, we're going to do this as a team, as a family, and we're going to pull it off regardless. We're going to take the risk, and then you're going to do it.
That's so incredible, because I'm getting the element that you were able to sell the idea to the closest people, right?
Yes.
And again, there's that relationship that we have with our families, right?
Yes.
It's a personal one.
Yeah.
This is my niece or this is my nephew.
Yeah.
And then you then get into a space where you are jumping into business, right? So now you need to sit down and you're saying, listen, uncle, aunt, cool, look, this is an idea,
Yeah.
right? And you still bring in paper. They buy into it.
Not all the time, but yeah.
Right? In your case, they did,
Yeah.
right? Which is great, right?
Okay.
They buy into it. But now you're in a situation where you are you're running the business on a day-to-day.
Okay.
Remember, there's still that element of, this is my niece, this is my nephew. Are you able to separate that? Are you able to remove the family element of it from the business? Or does it? Because one thing I found quite interesting, and I was doing some research the other day about German companies. A lot of them, like insurance companies and what's this? I don't know if you know the brand that makes the frozen pizza, Dr. Edgar.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it before.
Right.
But it's alright.
Yeah. So they've been running for quite some time, and it's a family business. And I wonder if, the dynamics around that. Are you able to, say, look, okay, guys, this is a business meeting. It's not a family meeting.
Yeah.
How does that?
I get your question. Well, when I said family, I mean certain people that are part of the business.
Sure.
Right? So you're not looking at a huge amount of people when I say family.
Okay.
But I say family in friends, close friends, people that have supported the idea before it was there, people that are part of the business, so everyone who decided to jump in, we call them family.
Oh,
yes,
makes sense now.
Yes.
So now I was thinking, but I suppose it would have been quite an interesting feat to really jump into it, because
I want to jump into it actually.
Conversations around family businesses.
Yes. So now I think the issue becomes when there's strings attached.
Sure.
Right? So it's having a common understanding of when this thing is going to be lucrative. We don't have the same vision, so it becomes difficult now, because when you involve family, they don't have the same vision as you, and now they expect it to boom
exactly
by the next year, and you still gonna be pushing it for the next 5 years, and then they separate at that point in time. You see people climbing off the train. But what's important is that you need to have the same vision. If you have the same vision and the same understanding of the business, it doesn't matter. You don't need to be separating, or you don't need to now say this is a business meeting, not a family meeting, because you have one common understanding of the business. So if you have common understanding and you have the same vision, there's no problem. I think you can do it. That is why Mr. Edgar, the frozen pizza you're talking about, that's why they're successful. I'm sure they have one understanding and one vision.
I suppose to a great extent it's having a philosophy at large. Because beyond emotions, things need to get done.
Yes.
You understand? And if we're able to systematize things, and I want to actually jump into entrepreneurship in South Africa at large, especially amongst our age group.
Okay.
The conversation around having something of a system, right? Having structures in play that would allow you to weather the storm throughout different seasons within the career, within the company. Do you think that, and again, you can speak on your personal capacity.
No, it's all right.
Do you think that there's room for, not even room, but do you think that the idea of entrepreneurship that we experience on a day-to-day, right?
Yeah.
Like the hardship and, waking up with problems literally almost every other day. There's a reality, there's a shift in reality between what we then get to see on a day-to-day.
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
There's a shift.
And let me rather put it like this: the social media aspect of it, because I'm primarily talking about our age group, right? It's like you mentioned right now that, if it was a family thing or just about anyone, the idea is, I put my need today. 6 months from now, I want something back.
Okay.
How disconnected are we from the reality of entrepreneurship at large within?
Well, I think we are very disconnected, my friend. If we would look around, I think we are very disconnected. If we look around, we see that not much has been done because of one thing: we are not patient enough.
Sure.
Right. So if you're not patient enough, you are not an entrepreneur, and based on what I see on social media, the pressure, I think people are lacking patience. They're lacking to be, the enthusiasm of starting a business. So I think there's still a lot of room for improvement, and I think we are far from, making this space of entrepreneurship, a space that we can be proud of. So I think there's lack, I can say.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm putting it or I'm being articulate enough, but I think we lack passion. Yeah, we lack patience.
Yeah. No, I can definitely.
Did I answer the question the way you?
There isn't a specific answer. Hence, I said in your personal capacity, because I think the conversation at large, when we see it, I mean, we've been doing Scattered for about 4 years now, right?
Okay.
And you sit down and you're like, it's only now we get to do what we're doing now, and throughout the time, you're sitting down and my business partner here at Tiro behind the camera will tell you, you're sitting down, you're like, dude, are we doing the right thing? Are we, you sit down, you're like, are we, I mean, 4 years ago, people talking about businesses and entrepreneurship, it was cool, but it wasn't cool the way we were doing it, because we were talking about the business. We weren't talking about your cars parked outside or your house. We're talking about you and the business at large. And I suppose to a great extent, with patience, it's coming along quite nicely. And with that being said, I want to transition into...
Okay, just sorry for cutting you, right? I just want to make another analogy with this thing. We're talking about, you said you're only doing Scattered now. It's been 4 years since you started it.
Yeah.
I just want to make an example, right? Imagine if you were to drive in a very twisty road, right?
Sure.
But it gets more dangerous the further you get, right? So you need to drive from the beginning of the road to gain the skills. Sure. You can't just fly there.
Exactly.
And then expect to finish the journey.
Yeah,
and be the next best driver. So I believe in business that you need to go through certain stages to become better at what you do.
Yeah.
You need to be at level 1 of being the driver, at level 2, at level 3, at level 4. You can't just expect to be driving at level 4, but you didn't even practice at level 1. So that's part of it. I think the better we understand that, and the better we understand that you need to be part of the journey and understand and learn and and make the mistakes that make you a better businessman. I think then we will have entrepreneurs.
I think that's the biggest one. I think when you're talking about level 1 or 2, as we were driving here, I just realized that you can't. It's like driving a manual car. You can't move from gear 1 to 5.
Exactly.
Right. You have to. You have to do a build up.
Yeah.
And if the funniest thing is that if you do that, you get an immediate reaction from the car to say this is not the
right gear. Of course.
So it's exactly like that. But you spoke earlier on about knowing where you are, right, in your business, knowing what stages you're at, and being conscious of it. Right now, where would you say you are as Lion Varage?
Well, we're still at the beginning, I can say. Well, the beginning, but at the end at the same time. But I'll explain that.
Sure.
So you spoke about funding, right? And you spoke about capital, things like that. So right now we're still at a phase where, and you also spoke about cash flow.
Yes.
But I just want to go back to that and explain the phase. So in this phase, we can't be emphasizing on the strategies we have on cash flow and all that, because we're still in the beginning. So what's important is not finances, right?
Yeah.
It's brand awareness. So we at that stage. Like, you'll never go to Checkers right now. You won't see a Coca-Cola table and promoters and, you know, because they're at a different stage,
Of course.
right? So that's where finances are the only thing they're worried about.
Yeah.
So we worried about a lot of things because we're in the beginning, right? So our worries are brand awareness, marketing, making sure that people understand the brand for what it is, because we have this brilliant idea, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, if it's there on the shelves, someone has to explain and say, okay, this is Lion Varage, this is what it does, and you know. So we're at that stage of brand awareness and trying to make sure that the brand is out there and people understand the brand.
With that being said, talk us first of all, talk us through the name.
The
right?
name.
Lion Varage. Where does the name come from?
Okay, so I'll start backwards, right? So Varage means sexiness, subtle, you know, and you know, lion. With the first thing you think about lion, when I say lion, you think about strength.
Of course.
So when you look at it, right, you can see it's subtle.
Yeah.
You know,
the colors.
Yes,
they're not too loud.
It's subtle. You know, poly.
Yeah.
You know, it's subtle, and at the same time, we know there's a lot of strength in it.
Sure.
So Lion Varage was quite a good combination for what we're trying to do.
I'm gonna ask you a funny question, and
Okay.
and I'm very much interested
myself.
in this. How did you get? So who came up with the name? So I'm very much interested in the name in terms of yes. So did you think about the concept of the lion being subtle, or did you sit down and you're like, okay, man, this lion, you know, you're watching Animal Planet or something, you're like, man, this lion is cool, man. And then a few weeks later, like, hey, man, Lion Varage, man, it's nice, eh?
Yeah, okay.
You know, so what's the process like of getting to a name? Because I think one of the things is that the name doesn't mean anything until you make it mean something.
Yeah, of
right?
course.
So, but again, that's I suppose maybe could be an inside joke in terms of, yeah, this is the name, or someone is down with someone.
Yeah.
So how does that go?
Okay, so I have to give credit to the person that gave us the name, right? So back in high school, where we had the idea, so we wrote the idea on paper. We didn't have a name.
Sure.
Before, right? So another friend of mine was helping me out, and it was like, you know, I see you don't have a name for this thing. How about Lion Varage? I was like, it's catchy. I think I like it.
Yeah.
Because I liked it before I actually knew the meaning of the word.
Sure.
So then I did some research on Varage, and then, you know, I saw the meaning. I was like, you know, it fits, you know, and for what we're trying to achieve in terms of where how we're trying to market the brand, it suits as well. So that's how we went on about. But I have to give credit to the friend that gave that name to me. So yes, I didn't come up with the name. None of us here in the team came up with the name, but that guy that was helping us, he gave us the name. Yes.
Part of that family that you spoke
Yeah.
about. You know, it's just one of those things where everyone plays their role
The
along
role,
the way.
yes.
You know, I think, because it's funny, because with ours, with Scattered, I think, I dislike the idea of having a magazine with numbers.
With numbers, okay.
Like page numbers.
Oh, okay.
Right? But I also didn't want to have a platform that spoke about one thing. So I was like, you know, it'd be nice to just have something that's scattered across the, like, you know, like an idea here, an idea here, an idea here. And then after starting, when Tiro joined and he's like, the name Scattered, and I was like, so I sold him onto the idea. And then he's like, no, it's great. Little did he know, I think it's only me finding out now that I just was lazy to put numbers on the magazine. And I was like, I just didn't want to limit it to be one thing. So I was like, it's Scattered.
Yeah.
So we can get to do whatever we want to do, but it's one thing, you know?
Okay.
But funny enough. But anyway.
Yeah.
You started this business at such a young age, and I wonder if you've had prior business experience, or you've done other businesses. You know, I think all of us, myself included, we've sold sweets and whatever, you know, at school. And was that also, or did you have another Lion Varage, you know, before this one?
Okay, so that's a good question, right? I think I did mention that to some degree, I I do suffer from OCD. So I cannot start something and just leave it hanging. You know, so this was the first brainchild. So we decided to go with it all the way. I'd prefer that we do have ideas that we wanna do, and other businesses that we would like to, you know, include in future, but it shouldn't be backwards for me. It shouldn't be other ideas that we didn't complete in the past. It should be other ideas that we plan to implement in the future.
Part of this or something completely different?
Both. So we have ideas that are part of this. We have ideas that are separate, but in the food and industry as well.
Lovely.
Yes.
And with that being said, especially with us talking about the future, there's about a 7.1% growth annually, compounded annual growth rate within the industry that you're in. And this is globally, right?
Yes.
Sorry, not globally, but in the African market.
You did your homework.
No, I did. Right. And the market cap at this present moment within the African market in itself is $2.1 billion. Why do you think there's such a huge growth rate in this energy drink market in Africa or South Africa?
Yeah, okay. So I'll say two things, but I don't want to forget them. I also want to dive into the organic energy drink section as well. But I just want to get into this, this generic question that, states the market as a whole of the energy drink. So we're developing, right? We're evolving. There's becoming more work. There's more jobs, especially the African continent. You see, we are building more.
We're urbanizing quite at such an exponential rate. Yeah,
we're building more. So we still have the same people that are needing energy, right? They're exposed to energy drinks, and the workload is becoming more and more. With inflation as well. So your salary, if it was 20,000 on 2004, now it's not enough. You need to work two jobs.
It's equivalent to 15,000 or 10,000.
You need so you need to work two jobs. You need that extra, boost. So that's why it's growing, and more brands are climbing in the train as well. So that's why you are seeing such a huge incline as well. So now let's talk about this. Because this is an organic energy, right? So
market,
So yes, this is also growing a lot. As a matter of fact, it's growing at that rate as well.
Yeah.
Right. So people are having more access to information right now. So people are researching. People are getting more educated. So now they understand the dangers of have your classic RTD energy drinks. People are understanding what, this is what I'm doing to my body if I consume this and this and this. So we've seen a huge incline in terms of even if it's not organic drinks, but shopping as a whole. People are becoming more health conscious and, more health aware. So because of that, I think it's also caused by the fact that people are having more access to the internet, and they understand things more, and they are aware. They understand, no, I shouldn't be doing this to my body. That's why we decided that this is a gap to bridge as well.
We're coming towards the end of the conversation, and I know earlier on you just said you guys you're at a place where branding is an important thing. But I have to ask, because I'm quite curious.
Okay.
What does an extra 1 million rand do for Lion Varage?
It depends on what we lose for it, right?
Okay.
So it would depend on who's offering it.
Okay.
But at the same time, I think I made a nice analogy here. I said sometimes you should go through the phases and, understand. Sometimes getting more capital than you actually need can be bad for you, because you won't find more efficient ways on doing the business.
Of course, yes.
You see? So now you have 1 million rands, you think I can pay that guy for 20,000 for banners. I can pay that guy,
Yeah.
So if you didn't, maybe you're gonna find a cheeky way to do it.
Of course, so you can bootstrap your way through.
Yes, and then even if you are now wealthy, you are established, but you've learned more efficient ways on how to do the business and how to run the business.
Yeah.
So that's a factor that most entrepreneurs need to understand about capital as a whole. Don't be too excited. At the same time, what are you losing for it?
Yeah.
Because now someone would come with 1 million rands and be like, I have 1 million. I want to jump in. But now, what do we lose for it? So I don't think we're willing to lose that much for 1 million rand. Maybe if you ask me what 10 million will do, maybe, I'd try diving in deeper.
The market is quite big.
Yeah.
Then let me get to ask you these questions, right, as we close off. These are more fun questions, relaxed questions. So
they're
you
all
get
fun,
to choose,
by the way.
You'll get to choose. So this is more of this or that, right?
Yeah.
So, but the first one is, what has been the best purchase that you've had this year so far in your personal capacity?
My best purchase?
Yeah, that you've made.
Jeez, I'm not a big spender, by the way.
Yes, you are.
Trying
Maybe
to
you bought a new notebook or something.
Jeez. My biggest purchase. I'm trying to see if anyone can help me. Maybe I understand my biggest purchase. Have I purchased anything?
I don't know.
Because maybe all we've did is invest in the business. But it's a fun question. I really want to answer it. Let me just think a bit. I'm not so sure, hey?
Yeah.
But okay. Let me. I don't want to be stuttering and wasting time. Let me just tell you. So we launched it this year, right?
Sure.
So we faced the most financial hurdles ever this year.
Yeah.
Right. So it hasn't been so big on purchasing. But unless we're gonna go to small things like food, I don't know if you want us to go
there. Let me rather do this. Let me restructure the question to say, what has been the biggest investment you've made? Rather, let's put it like that.
Wow, I think you're looking at it. I think you're looking at it. I think. Okay, so this was it. I think Lion Varage was the biggest investment we've ever made.
Yeah. Because
we had a chance to take the risk and put all we had on. So I think this was the biggest investment. I think this is the main focus. That's why I'm brain fogging.
You're so
question.
Committed.
Yeah.
You have forgotten about yourself.
Yeah, I think to some degree, I forgot. As a matter of fact, whenever we have an event, you won't even see me eating anything.
I actually haven't seen you eating.
I don't.
No,
I can't.
I think you had a sip of water maybe at the last event where we were hosting it, but yeah, no, I
so I don't focus on myself when I'm doing business. I think I can only focus on one thing.
Yeah. Right.
So whenever we're here, I don't have appetite. I'm not thinking about anything.
Yeah.
But if you restructure the question and maybe say what would be the best purchase I'd like to make in the future.
What would it be?
Maybe. So I'm a huge car enthusiast, right? Okay. I'm sure I saw your wallpaper and I told you what car that is.
Don't expose me.
You see? So I'm a huge car enthusiast. So it would be nice to, get myself maybe an A12 Superfast.
Oh.
Maybe. I don't know. But we'll see.
I mean, listen. This product.
Yeah, but
But obviously, look, because I don't know, because I hope you buy it. I really hope you buy it, because by the looks of you don't buy a lot of things. So I hope you get to buy that at least.
Yeah.
But that's fine. Look, I think also myself, you've seen the cars, and it'll be a great. I suppose sometimes as people in general, we need to just learn to just say, listen, I've worked hard.
Yeah, let me reward myself.
You know, and again, because we live such selfless lives, you're always worried about the product or people in my team or
Of course.
You always, and I think that's actually funny because I mean we are closing it, but I want to speak about this, that as you get bigger, it's actually it's a funny thing because it's like the bigger you get, people would think that you would get big, right?
Yeah.
But you become you become a servant more than anything else.
Yeah.
Because if there's a problem, they call you. You have to solve the problem.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So you cannot be too big.
Yeah.
Because then you won't be the problem solver.
Yeah, of
do you
course.
understand?
Of course.
So it's a funny paradox to say the bigger it gets, the more I have to become a servant than anything else.
Yes, but I just want us to, talk about this and maybe challenge each other on the topic that you're bringing about being a servant.
Yeah.
I did say that I believe in stoicism, being strong, so to some degree I think if you're the chosen one or you believe you're the chosen one, I think you need to step up and handle the weight. And this is another thing you need to understand as an individual, not even as a businessman or whatever. The heavier the load, the stronger you get.
Yeah.
You can just go to the gym and try it out, put a heavy load and see. The minute you walk out, you'll be stronger the next day.
Exactly.
So I think we need to accept those things, and understand the purpose and follow the purpose. Happiness is one thing, but I think happiness is inconsistent.
Short-lived.
Right? So I think
short-lived.
it's inconsistent. So I think if you understand your purpose and you understand who you represent as a man, and be stoic, take pride, and and understand your purpose as an individual. So I think if you understand that quite well, I don't think you're going to have much problems in terms of the load you can carry.
Of course,
you see.
Of course, and I think you have an appreciation for it.
Yes,
so at times we then question why, but why not you?
Yeah, of course.
If not you, then who?
Then who? Of course, yeah.
So let me move on to this question: cardio or CrossFit?
I think CrossFit.
CrossFit.
Yeah.
Why?
I think the results of CrossFit are better than of cardio. Yes, so CrossFit, I think definitely CrossFit. It makes you stronger in many different ways.
Okay.
So cardio is a bit inconsistent, right? So can I just get into the science of it? So there's a chemical called cortisol.
Yes.
Right? It's not good for muscle growth, right? So you actually activate a lot of it when you do cardio.
Is it? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So it makes it so difficult for your muscles to grow. So I'm a big fan of, at least you need to show a bit of, muscle. So
sure.
CrossFit, I think, is a better alternative for me personally.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Night drive or day drive?
Night drive.
Night drive.
Night drive. Definitely night drive. The breeze, less traffic.
Sure.
Night drive. I mean, I just told you that I'm a car enthusiast, so
sure.
Of course I don't want anything in front of me. Right? So yeah, night
no
drive.
Police.
Yeah, no police. Yeah.
Lovely. And the final one, Lion Varage or Red Bull?
Lion Varage, of course. Of course.
Lovely.
Of course.
But thank you so much.
Thank you
so much. I want to thank you so much for one. This is our first episode on YouTube, so thank you so much for hosting us. A lovely home. Thank you to the people watching in the background. Thank you to the team.
Yes.
Thank you to you for watching, and we're looking forward to seeing the company grow, and we will be there. We consider you guys such a good friend of Scattered Media, and we
us too.
We're gonna grow into it. But more importantly, to the people who are watching, and I hope that this conversation has brought forth some perspective, some knowledge, and it's gotten you, anticipating, or it has you anticipating other conversations with other entrepreneurs within the South African market, and we're looking forward to it. And how do we say it? So subscribe and share.
Yeah, of course.
Subscribe and share.
Yeah.
But there's more content coming through. I am Tiro Malinga. I am the founder of Scattered News and the editor of Scattered Magazine. And I'm joined today by Mr. Sive Jebe, the founder of Lion Varage. Yes. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Lion Varage boosts immunity. High in vitamin C. Prevention of fatigue. Unrefined natural ingredients. Increases athletic performance. Helps digestive system. Honey-based. Healthy nerve function. Lion Varage Natural Energy, the first side effect-free energy drink